Welcome to this presentation for the Electronic Teacher and Principal Evaluation System, or eTPES. This PowerPoint will review how eTPES is set up, what are the evaluation requirements, and we'll also be talking about updated evaluation requirements for teachers and principals as a result of House Bill 64. When you log into eTPES, you will first log in to www.ohiotpes.com and you'll see a screen that looks like this. Individuals with prior login information, even if it was from another district, will use the same username and password that they were given. Updates to emails will need to be made by the district administration, the superintendent or designee, or principal. You'll enter your username and password. Notice at the bottom of the screen if you have forgotten your username or your password, you can click there and ask for help. On the user's home screen, you'll notice that if you're OTES or OPES credentialed, there will be dates and expirations listed. If your credential is about to expire, you'll need to be recredentialed or recalibrated. You may click on the link for details about how to recredential. On the home screen of the superintendent or superintendent designee, you will notice if the setup is complete or not. The setup for the student growth measures will not be completed at this time. For the 15-16 school year, the setup for student growth measures will be entered at a later time, and training will be offered at a later time. This year, when the superintendent or designee completes setup, the setup will require a contact phone number from that superintendent or designee. This will help the Ohio Department of Education and eTPES personnel if contact is needed. The superintendent or designee will need to complete the rubric alignment. The rubric alignment from the previous school year can be viewed as a read-only by choosing the previous school year. The superintendent or designee will need to select the choice of rubric to be used by the district. If the district will be using the OTES and OPES rubrics, the first check box for each is marked. If the district completed the alignment tool last year, a second choice is available. This choice notes that the district wants to use that aligned rubric again this year. The district will need to upload a PDF of that aligned rubric. The third choice available is for those wishing to use a rubric aligned to OTES, but who have yet to complete the alignment tool. If this is selected, the user will need to complete the alignment tool before proceeding to the next step. If the district chooses to use a rubric aligned to OPES, there is no alignment tool, but the district will still need to upload a PDF of the aligned OPES rubric that they are choosing to use, if not using the state OPES rubric. As the user works through these steps, the steps in the alignment tool may be changed until the user enters the final PIN for the district school setup. When considering who is evaluated, for teachers to be evaluated under OTES, the teacher must be a person who is employed under a teaching license or who is employed under a professional or permanent teacher certificate, and a teacher who spends at least 50% of his or her time that they are employed providing student instruction. This does not apply to a teacher employed as a substitute. Some examples of individuals that are excluded from being evaluated under OTES would be speech pathologists, occupational therapists, teachers on special assignment, nurses, psychologists, and guidance counselors. Further, when thinking about who is evaluated, the board may elect not to conduct an evaluation of a teacher or principal who meets one of the following requirements. The teacher or principal was on board-approved leave from the school district for 50% or more of the school year as calculated by that board. Or the teacher or principal has submitted notice of retirement and that notice has been accepted by the board not later than the first day of December of the school year in which the evaluation is otherwise scheduled to be conducted. Please note, as of this school year, this now does apply to principals as a result in change of guidance provided by the Ohio Department of Education in order for OPES to mirror OTES. When determining who is evaluated, please remember that the board shall require at least 3 formal observations of each teacher who is under consideration for non-renewal and with whom the board has entered into a limited contract or an extended limited contract. When considering who is evaluated under OPES, the Ohio Principal Evaluation System, you should focus not on the administrative title, but rather on the role and the alignment to the Principal Performance Rating Rubric, which is based on the Ohio Standards for Principals. Think of these 3 questions. Is the administrator serving as an instructional leader? Do the duties of the administrator fall into at least 2 of the 5 principal standards? Does the administrator evaluate multiple staff members? Only those administrators meeting all 3 criteria would be evaluated under the principal evaluation system, which would also include student growth measures. Administrators who would not be required to be evaluated under the principal evaluation system include those who do not fit all of the considerations. These administrators may have limited contact with teachers and/or students. They may have narrowly defined roles and administrative responsibilities that do not directly relate to the principal standards, or they do not provide instructional leadership, nor do they evaluate multiple teachers. In the case of a superintendent who might serve in a dual role as a principal, the superintendent role would be able to go ahead and evaluate teachers, and the Board of Education will be evaluating the superintendent as the superintendent. In this case, the superintendent would not be set as a principal in eTPES and would not be evaluated under OPES. When thinking about who to evaluate on a full evaluation, think about these pieces. Someone who is new to a district or is new to the teaching profession would require a full evaluation because there is no evaluation to base the less frequent evaluation. They did not earn an accomplished or skilled rating in your district previously. So anyone who is new to your district or new to the teaching profession would have a full evaluation. If the teacher is new in a building but not new in a district, then that is a local decision about the full evaluation or less frequent evaluation interval. For staff who are in the same district but they're shared among buildings, that staff member as teacher will be on each building's roster, but there will only be one evaluation completed. For districts that have teachers shared among districts, if a teacher works in separate districts and is employed by those separate districts as separate employers, each separate district would evaluate the teacher, and the teacher would have more than one evaluation. Here's another example, though. Let's think of a teacher who's employed by an ESC, and the district contracts with the ESC for that teacher's services. The teacher would remain on the roster of the employer. In this case, the teacher remains on the roster of the ESC. The ESC is responsible that the evaluation is done. The ESC could do the evaluation or could work with the district to make sure that the evaluation is completed. If the ESC chooses to have the district do the evaluation, then the ESC would need to have that district evaluator board approved as a third-party evaluator, and then would provide access in eTPES for that evaluator. eTPES will show if there are incomplete evaluations. However, as educators, we know that sometimes not all evaluations are completed. If an educator leaves during the school year, that educator should remain on the eTPES roster. It is possible that there will be less than 100% completion rates for some districts.